Everyone for joining in this class. We are continuing our discussion on the Mahadashas, and today we'll have a look at the Guru Mahadasha, okay, which is Jupiter. We looked at Mercury in the last class, so today we'll be looking at Guru, okay. Before we begin, we start with the Shanti mantra from the Upanishads. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunakatu Sahaviryangkar Vavahai Tejasvinadaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shantish Shantish Shanti. So Jupiter Mahadasha, it is actually regarded as as a period about happiness, prosperity, wealth, and receiving fame. Okay, but the point being, very rarely this happens. Okay, very rarely Jupiter is is a period of prosperity or happiness or fame or wealth. Okay, it's very rare, because a Mahadasha will give you results only after it is activated. And for activation of a Mahadasha, Rahu Antardasha has to come about. Okay, so if you look at the order of the Mahadashas, for Jupiter Mahadasha, Rahu Antardasha comes at the last. Okay, at the last, it means around 2.5 years before Jupiter Mahadasha ends. Okay, Rahu Antardasha comes then, and that is the area, or that is the point when the Mahadasha is activated. So unless and until Jupiter is placed in a in a good avastha, or in a unless and until Jupiter is placed in a good avastha, or it is it is strongly placed, it will not give you results at the end of the Mahadasha. Okay, so it is not enough to have an exalted Jupiter which is at say 0 degrees. Okay, because then the Mahadasha will not give you good results, because Rahu Antardasha comes at last, and a planet at 0 degrees, if it is in a even sign, it will give results towards the very beginning. Okay, so one has to be really careful in judging Jupiter Dasha. All right, and the other thing is, people come and complain as to Jupiter is regarded as the most benefic planet in astrology. So why this Mahadasha was not as per my expectation? Okay, so it is because your Jupiter may be either lacking in directional strength, because sometimes Jupiter placed in the 7th house can also stop giving you results during its Mahadasha. Okay, because Jupiter is Dikshanya. All right, so don't go by the notion that Jupiter is the most benefic planet in astrology. Of course it is the most benefic. Okay, because the places that Jupiter aspects, those places are always protected. All right, so even if a bad transit happens there, or even if an eclipse happens there, it will still be a protected place. Okay, so don't think that Jupiter is not the most benefic planet. It is the most benefic planet, but the Mahadasha may not give you results as expected. Okay, and the qualities and results of Jupiter Mahadasha, it depends, as I say, as always, it depends upon the condition of Jupiter, the house ruled by Jupiter, the sign ruled by Jupiter, the nakshatra where Jupiter is placed in, including all the aspects and conjunctions. Okay, and what Jupiter does in its Mahadasha is that it makes a person very optimistic about life and circumstances. It makes them feel very inspired and hopeful about the future. Okay, and no matter how the results are, or how bad the results are, the person will always have a hope for a better tomorrow, or hope for a better future in Jupiter Mahadasha or Antardasha. Okay, and because Jupiter is the karaka of the 2nd, 5th, 9th, and 11th house, so you'll see many people having children, getting married, doing long distance travel, and gaining from friends and network circles during this dasha. Okay, and Jupiter also makes the native feel like a teacher, or a or a wise personality. If Jupiter is aspecting the 12th house, or if Jupiter is in the 12th house, then many people will come to the native for life advice. Okay, and that makes the native feel like a guru of sorts. All right, it feels that these people have something to give to the world, and this is also the period where most people find their spiritual mentors and teachers in their life. Okay, so this is the Mahadasha that will make a person very, very faithful, very, very religious, spiritual. Okay, and if Jupiter is placed with a planet like Mars or Saturn, or it is conjuncted by these planets, then it can make the person very, very conservative in outlook. Okay, otherwise Jupiter is a very liberal planet. And if Jupiter is having directional strength, or if it is exalted in a good avastha, these people will feel that they are like unbeatable and unstoppable. Okay, and reality seems to be like a bed of roses, even if the person has less than $1 in their pocket or less than a rupee in their pocket. Okay, they will know that something will come up and will save them in the end. Okay, and amongst the friends, this person, the native, will actually find himself or herself among people who will also act as if they are like teachers. Okay, so it is a positive period overall, although it might not give you results in that expectation according to your expectations. It's an overall positive period filled with mixed emotions. If Jupiter's placement is mixed, for example, if Jupiter is placed in the 6th house, it can give you mixed results. Okay, and at times, if Jupiter is related to the 9th house, or if Jupiter rules the 9th house, then the person may go for higher education like an MBA or PhD. Okay, but then Jupiter is also about attaining the principles of living life and knowing about the soul's desire. Okay, so the sense of optimism is such that a person can actually end up in jail. If a person ends up in jail during Jupiter Mahadasha, they will still have that great optimism and hope of living a better life tomorrow. Okay, so if someone goes into jail during Saturn Mahadasha, the person will have will lose all his or her optimism. But Jupiter Mahadasha gives this great optimism to the to the people undergoing, to the native undergoing this Mahadasha. Okay, so I'll run through Jupiter through the houses. Just let me silence my phone. Okay, so there are a couple of questions. If Jupiter is placed in Rahu Nakshatra, then does it get activated in the beginning of the Mahadasha? No. For a Mahadasha to get activated, it happens only through Rahu Antardasha. Okay, Rahu Nakshatra does not matter here, right? And what if Jupiter is retrograde? Well, retrograde Jupiter is like having turmoil. Okay, it's like having turmoil throughout your life. You'll be having turmoil throughout your life. It is not necessarily bad turmoil, but turmoilish situations will put you through a lot of lessons. Okay, that is what retrogradation does to a planet. Okay, so Jupiter in the 1st house. All right, so as we know, Jupiter has 3 aspects: the 5th aspect, the 7th aspect, and the 9th aspect. So we'll look at the aspects as well. So during this Mahadasha period, Jupiter will bring about an interest, okay, in learning about the self. Okay, interest in religion, in higher philosophy, and also it will activate the desire to become a teacher. Okay, and Jupiter is it is a natural teacher, a guru, and a preacher. So the native will follow the footsteps of Jupiter. Okay, and being the karaka of 4 houses and ruling 2 houses. Okay, and also simultaneously expecting 3 houses, what will happen is that majority of the houses in the horoscope becomes active. Okay, and this activity will be experienced by the native in physical form. And if such a Mahadasha happens to be in the earlier life of the native, for example in their teenage or in their in their 20s, the native will see great achievements in education. Okay, higher education, marriage, children, gains, growth of family, growth of friends. and also finding a solid mentor in life. Okay. And even if Jupiter is debilitated, the native will overcome hurdles in life through extreme practical approaches. Okay, as opposed to philosophical approaches, because Saturn is, very practical. So instead of taking a philosophical approach towards a problem, the native will be very, very practical. Okay. So if Jupiter receives an Nijbhang Raj Yoga, for example, if Jupiter is in Capricorn and Saturn is either in Capricorn or it is in it is in a Libra, then it is a case of Nijbhang Raj Yoga. Okay. So such a condition will elevate Jupiter's quality to a higher level. And in a female chart, unless and until this Jupiter is retrograde, a child is promised, because Jupiter is aspecting the fifth house. Okay, regardless of the dignity of Jupiter. Okay. And Jupiter's aspect on the fifth house shows that the natives, 16-year period will be either focused on having children, or will be focused on education or mantras, or dealing with creative self-expression through higher knowledge. Okay. And the seventh aspect to the seventh house, it suggests preserving and maintaining the flow of marriage, business, and expanding one's teachings to other people, because the seventh house is the house of the other. Okay. And during this period, the native will mostly come across scholars and educated people. And the ninth aspect of Jupiter on the ninth house, it shows that it will be a 16-year period of enhancing one's philosophical views and broadening the educational horizon. Okay. So regardless of age, even if this dasha comes later on in life, the native will engage in learning some form of higher education, whether it is institutional or not. Okay. And there will be great honor and protection to the father. And the birth of children can be expected if this dasha runs during adult years. Okay. So Jupiter in the second house, it's a good position for Jupiter to be in. Okay, because then the speech becomes very, 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 very exuberant. Okay. And this 16-year-old period of Jupiter Mahadasha, the native will be mainly focused on maintaining family values, earning money through food, banking, or even through family land. Okay. And this is the time where the native will be very, very hopeful about making lots of money. Okay, achieving all his or her goals and finding great interest in writing, public speaking, and art. Okay, because second house also represents art. So if Jupiter is, debilitated, then the native will be more focused on making money and gaining authority, because Capricorn is a sign where Jupiter loses its creativity. Okay, and it focuses more on giving to the society through hard work. Okay, so there will be fluctuations in wealth if Saturn is in bad dignity. Okay, otherwise, even if Jupiter is debilitated in Capricorn, people do get good results during the Mahadasha period or during the Antardasha period. Okay. So this Jupiter's aspect on the sixth house, it shows that one will be encouraged to take loans in order to expand the family, or maybe for a marriage, or maybe for for a new construction of a house. Okay. Sometimes if Jupiter is aspected by Rahu, then the person can become dependent on credit cards. Okay, because Rahu represents plastic money. Okay. And your enemies will run away by seeing their sattva, by seeing their goodness. Okay, this aspect of Jupiter on the sixth house can actually protect the native from illness and diseases, and it becomes easy to find a job and to be in service, because sixth house is also the house of service. Okay, so the eighth aspect of Jupiter, it shows a growing interest in the the aspect of Jupiter on the eighth house. It will show a growing interest in the occult and in attaining other people's wealth. Okay, other people, by other people I mean the in-laws wealth. All right. And one might also be inclined to manage and hoard other people's money as well. All right. And this Jupiter, it shows great wealth and resources coming from the spouse's family. Okay. Or or gaining secret insights into their own lives. And this Jupiter's aspect in the 10th house, it shows that one will always be respected during Jupiter's dasha. Even if bad time comes, the respect will still be there, and the bad time will not last for long, because the light of Jupiter will keep the troubles away from the 8th house. Sorry, from the 10th house. Okay, the 10th house, it stands for authority, respect, and work environment. Okay. Then Jupiter in the 3rd house. So not a very good place for Jupiter to be in, because it is the Marankaran Sthan of Jupiter. But then this Mahadasha will cause the native to be more proactive towards communication, towards gatherings and preaching through the medium of media. Okay, to spread their word. So Maran Karan, because the third house is the house of action. It is the house of Parakrama. Okay. And you cannot expect Guru to show activeness in the battlefield because the Karaka of the third house is Mars. Okay. So, a guru always belongs to a higher institution or a gurukul. Okay. So putting a guru in a house of the battlefield. Okay, third house also represents chit chat among natives. Okay, the backbitings that people do. If your third house is afflicted, you will engage in backbiting. Okay, so it actually indicates the death of knowledge of a person. Okay, but then this position is not all gloom and doom. Okay, it can actually make the native a great businessman who has the ability to create disciplines underneath them. Okay, they will also have good communicative ability, and that will help them sell, market, and spread their knowledge. Okay, there will be visits during this period to gurus and astrologers, and there will be a tremendous interest in writing and teaching. Okay, and benefits can also be obtained from younger siblings. So the fifth aspect of Jupiter to the seventh house, it shows a need to make business deals happen, along with having a sincere relationship with the spouse or with other business partners. Okay, and there is a lot of karma that unfolds through partnerships and marriage during this period. Okay, so business can become a game and a fun activity. Okay, and Jupiter's seventh aspect to the ninth house, it shows that one will be facing their gurus, their father and their teachers as a part of their journey to learn and grow during this Mahadasha. Okay, and because the aspect is on the ninth house, so it indicates that there will be a lot of long distance travels taking place due to business deals abroad. Okay, and to attain higher education in the field of in their own field of interest. Okay, the ninth aspect of Jupiter to the 11th house, it suggests that the main focus of the native will be to gain fame. Okay, and to find people or to build a network to increase their earnings. All right, so gaining or hoarding more sort of becomes dharma for the native, because the ninth aspect of Jupiter represents the dharmic aspect. Okay, and there will also be a sense of philosophical attitude towards gaining liquid wealth, and this attitude towards gaining liquid wealth can give a higher purpose to the native. Okay, so that is how Jupiter behaves. All right, just take a break for a couple of minutes. I'll come back. Okay, so Jupiter in the fourth house. So this is a very good position for Jupiter to be in, because here Jupiter attains Digbala. Okay, so irrespective of being in Capricorn. All right, so this period is it'll provide a lot of benefits from the motherland, from real estate, or just happiness within the home. Okay, so during this period, all of a sudden the native will start finding it very, very lucrative to stay at home and do everything from the home. Okay, and the native will learn a lot throughout the Mahadasha from their mother or through the divine mother. Okay, that means through Shakti. And there will be a need, they will feel a need to devote themselves to a higher motherly figure. And this is where Jupiter feels very comfortable, because a guru wants to teach in the privacy of their own space and in the arms of the divine mother. Okay, and there will be a lot of focus on home, on raising children, on dealing with the issues of parents and connecting with childhood friends. Okay, and there will also be great devotion towards the people of one's homeland. Okay, and even if debiliated, that means if Jupiter is in Capricorn, then the planet can bring dedication to public service via politics. Okay, the aspect of Jupiter on the eighth house, it shows knowledge about the occult. Okay, and there will be a urge to learn about the occult. Okay, and there will also be a lot of curiosity to learn about attain secret knowledge during this Mahadasha. Okay, there will also be a focus on inheritances, because the eighth house is the house of inheritance, and the native will try to make wealth by using other people's money. Okay, for example, the native can go into brokerage or can go into investment banking and stuff like that. All right, and the aspect of Jupiter on the 10th house, it shows that a lot of respect will be given to the native at work, and the native will come across highly intelligent and qualified co-workers and bosses. Okay, and if it's a female and this Jupiter Mahadasha comes at a marriageable age, then a female can meet her spouse within the home or in the kitchen. Okay, it's very much possible. All right. And Jupiter's ninth aspect on the 12th house, it shows a certain urge to visit foreign lands for the purpose of, for the purpose of finding a guru, or for the purpose of attaining higher spiritual knowledge, and also to expand, one's dwelling into foreign lands. Okay, Jupiter will bring knowledge to the native from foreign sources. Okay, so in the 5th house, okay, Jupiter in the 5th house, this is a very good position for Jupiter to be in, first of all. Okay, so it shows that the period of Jupiter Mahadasha will be, will place a major focus on benefiting and learning from children, and this is a period of dharmic growth. Okay, because the 5th house, the 1st house, and the 9th house, they make up the dharma trikona, or the dharma triangle. All right, so I've discussed about the dharma triangle today in Kala Sarpa. Okay, and the native will be focused on learning and gaining knowledge, while also having great hope towards creative self-expression. Okay, so Jupiter represents expansion, and there will be an expansion in the number of children, in the number of investments. Okay, the investments in stocks and bonds can also expand. Okay, and there will also be a great interest in doing mantras. Okay, and if this dasha comes during the youthful period, the native will be highly interested in subjects like biology or zoology or creative writing and law. Okay, and during this period, the native will feel, a childlike curiosity in the search of a guru or mentor. Okay, and if Jupiter is in Aries signs, or if it is in dual signs, okay, so there will be a lot of opportunities for the native for romantic encounters. Okay, but a romantic encounter can turn out to be platonic. Okay, if Jupiter is not, is not aspected by Venus, or if Venus is debilitated in the chart. Okay, so the 5th aspect of Jupiter on the 9th house, it can show, the native will eagerly look for a guru or a teacher, or would want to connect to a father-like figure. Okay, and during the 16-year period, the Jupiter, the native will have fun with higher education, and will try to, grasp as much of a higher philosophy as possible. Okay, if Jupiter is in a good position, the native will find a guru who will show him his or her dharma. Okay, and the 9th aspect of Jupiter on the ascendant, it will bless and protect the native throughout the entire dasha. Okay, even if debilitated, at least the protection aspect of the protective part of Jupiter will be, will be active. Even if the native is not gaining anything throughout the entire 16 years, he will actually have protection. Okay, protection from accidents, protection from diseases, and so on. Okay, and the native will feel like a natural guru. Okay, natural guru or teacher, and people will actually flock to him for advice on life or education or personal issues. Okay, and this is a place which, which gives a lot of hope and optimism, no matter how bad the situation is. It can be, it can be a double-edged sword. Hope and optimism can always be a double-edged sword, because if you're hopeful and optimistic even when the times are bad, sometimes it can be self-destructive. Okay, so this is something that we have to keep in mind. Okay, so Jupiter in the 6th house, this Mahadasha will actually encourage the native to engage in social service, social welfare, and to be of service to others during these, 16 years. Okay, the native can actually end up becoming an excellent debt manager or debt collector. All right, and because if, as I said, Rahu represents plastic money, so if this Jupiter is aspected by Rahu, then too much of overspending can make the native hit the limit of his credit card, of his or her credit card. Okay, and the native can also get into a lot of debt, okay, thinking that they can repay it later on. But once the Mahadasha is over, the optimism goes, or the opportunities for repaying the debt also goes. Okay, but then if Jupiter is exalted, or or if it is in its own sign, then one can be sure that if one accumulates debt during this period, then those debts will be easily paid off. Okay, now the critical factor for this Jupiter in the 6th house is that enemies will come in the form of gurus, in the form of teachers and wise men. Okay, but then these enemies, even if they want to fight the native, they will run away by looking at the sattva, by looking at the goodness of the native. Okay, and Jupiter being the karaka for their children. So, if the person is married or if the person has children, then during this period they may have to constantly work for, for giving a good life or for fulfilling the wishes of children. Okay, and the 16-year period may not be bad in terms of facing challenges or enemies, because the person will always be optimistic with the hope of defeating those enemies, and they will be defeated. Okay, and the person will also give a lot of love to small animals. The person can suddenly find himself or herself working for animal welfare, and they will also look to, to uplift the poor and the downtrodden. Okay, so this is also a period where the person can, face problems from servants if Jupiter is debilitated. Okay, and the native, because the sixth house is the house of competition, the native will earn wisdom through the streets as if this is the real world. Okay, wisdom will also come through enemies, obstacles, and diseases. Okay, and during this period one should always watch their intake of sugar or alcohol and fried foods. Okay, and if this position is there for a female, then during the Mahadasha, the female may enter into arguments or disagreements with the spouse. Okay, and if well placed, then the spouse will actually help her destroy her enemies. All right, so sixth house Jupiter is a very peculiar Jupiter. All right, and then the fifth aspect of Jupiter falls on the 10th house, so it ensures that the native acquires a good reputation at work. Okay, worries less about work, and this is a period where one can actually find great help from professional mentors. Okay, and even if the native loses his job, or if the native is fired from his or her job, then Jupiter will always help the native find their next employment very quickly. Okay, so this position of Jupiter will help the native getting money at the very last minute. Okay, and this is throughout life. Okay, sixth house Jupiter, money will actually come up from unexpected sources. Okay, and the seventh aspect of Jupiter on the 12th house, it shows that the native will engage in spiritual meetings and also maybe travel to foreign lands to meet their mentors. Okay, sometimes it can so happen that they might find their home environment very harsh. Okay, so they may travel to foreign lands to see if that environment is better or if it is the same as their home environment. Okay, because this house, the 12th house, is the mirror that Jupiter looks through in hard times. Okay, and this ninth aspect of Jupiter on the second house, it always brings wealth and money to the native, regardless of how bad or how good the conditions are. Okay, so this aspect on the second house can also mean food and clothes. Okay, the native will never run short of food and clothes, including money. Okay, as I said, sixth house Jupiter, the native will always find resources no matter what. Okay, the native will always be hopeful to earn money, to attain assets, and there will be blessings to the family as well. Okay, and if Jupiter is badly placed or if Jupiter is debilitated, then there will be sudden fluctuations in wealth and savings. Okay, because as I said, if Jupiter is badly placed, instead of giving, he starts protecting. Okay, so that aspect will be fully active. Okay, all right, then Jupiter in the seventh house, not a good position for Jupiter to be in, because the seventh house is Dikshunya. Yes, Jupiter becomes Dikshunya in the seventh house. All right, so this position of Jupiter, the native, for this position of Jupiter, the native will be concentrated on diplomacy and business partnerships and even in marriages. Okay, and the native may find himself or herself running into highly qualified and educated individuals for friendship, romance, and even marriage. Okay, so the seventh house is like a mirror. Okay, it is like a mirror to the first house. So what it does is it shows that the native will seek only only wealthy and educated individuals that they can mirror their image in a brighter light. Okay, and since Jupiter always expands the house where it sits, so it will increase the popularity of the native during this time. Okay, especially in social media. Okay, so all of a sudden you see people becoming social media celebs overnight. So this is the position, okay, that makes people social media celebs. Okay, yeah, I'll come to that, Twinkleji. So at times, if Jupiter joins Saturn, or if Jupiter joins If Jupiter joins Rahu, then these people, they can seek a matured and older individual who not only has a good head on their shoulder, but also a heavy pocket. Okay. Jupiter, which is also the Karaka for children, it shows that during this period, one will have children to tighten or strengthen the legal courtship of marriage. Okay. So what happens is in India, marriage is a problem. Okay. So when marriage becomes problematic, people advise you to have kids, have a kid. So that becomes a bigger problem. And this, marriage being a problem becomes a smaller problem. So this is a way of, of dealing with your problems. It does not work nowadays, but still you will find a lot of people advising you, your marriage is a problem. No worries, have a kid. Why? Because that is a greater problem. Okay. So this is something that happens in India. All right. Yes, I have Jupiter in the 7th house, but with Venus and Mercury. Okay. So what will happen is it will make you very oblivious to matters of the 7th house. Okay. Because Venus and Jupiter together, it makes you very oblivious to the matters pertaining to that house. You'll think that chalo jo hota hai hone do, let me, I'll not pay attention to it. It takes away your attention basically. Okay. Mercury, Jupiter, your spouse will teach you a lot of lessons. Okay. Your spouse will teach you a lot of lessons. Okay. Mercury and Venus. So, you should actually focus on doing your own things after marriage, because this is Mahalakshmi Yoga. Lakshmi Narayan Yoga. Okay, so if you do your own business, you'll be good. All right. Saraswati Yoga, yes, but at the end of the day, Saraswati Yoga is not seen in the D1, it's seen in the D24. All right. This is a secret I'm sharing. Anyways, so as I said, Jupiter this position of Jupiter can show that one can have children to strengthen the legal courtship of marriage. Okay. And then because the 7th house is also the house of Maraka, it is a Maraka house, like the 2nd house. The 7th house is a Maraka house. So it shows that the native will not pay much attention to the children, even if they have children during this time. Okay, so it shows that the native will be seeking fulfillment of pleasures and desires rather than, having the duty of a responsible parent. But then if Jupiter is in a friendly sign, or if Jupiter is exalted, then this will not be the case. Okay, and the native with such a Jupiter will be keen on business partnerships during this period. Okay, and at the end of the day, marriage is also a business partnership. Okay, and you'll also be focused on your spouse. And Jupiter's wisdom for the native in this period will be to find diplomacy in the marriage, and to and to learn wisdom from others, including the spouse. Okay, including the marriage partner, that is. So Jupiter aspects the 11th house. So it confirms that the native will be wanting to have social fun, create friendships, and attain liquid wealth. Okay, the entire focus will be towards social progression in life. Okay, how many friends they have, how many parties and gatherings they attend. And even the Sattvic Jupiter in such placements cannot help but enjoy the Maya that is created by the 11th house. Okay. So Jupiter's aspect on the 9th house, Jupiter's aspect on the 3rd house, the 9th aspect of Jupiter on the 3rd house, it will show that, during this period, one's dharma will be to pursue hobbies, expand your communication with siblings and nearby family, and even perhaps take up lessons in dance. Okay, or maybe in doing workouts, or even take interest in the arts. Okay. So Jupiter in the 8th house. Okay, so again, 8th house Jupiter, not a bad position as such, but it can get you into trouble due to your selfishness in some issues. Okay, remember that. So this period, or this time of Jupiter Mahadasha, it will be filled with hidden knowledge and secret dealings. Okay, there will be gains from inheritances depending on which nakshatra Jupiter is in. Okay, and which nakshatra pada Jupiter is in, because that will give an indication of on which part of the dasha the native will find hidden treasure. Okay, by hidden treasure I mean treasure of knowledge, treasure of inheritance, and so on. And there will be a sudden interest in tantra, in occult secrets, and in knowing the mysteries of death. Okay, for a female, this can show that the female will meet her spouse in a very secretive meeting or in a secretive affair. Okay, if the dasha occurs in in her 20s. And this placement of Jupiter shows tremendous amounts of money and wealth through joint assets. Okay, the native will receive tremendous respect and prosperity through the spouse's family. And even if Jupiter is debilitated, then the native can become a millionaire during this lifetime, regardless of their gender. Okay, but why am I saying this? Because Capricorn is the sign of Artha. Okay, it is always focused on accumulating. And the main focus of the native during this time will either be on insurance or wealth management or research or the occult. Okay. Now, the fifth aspect of Jupiter on the 12th house, it shows a secret desire to learn the world to learn about the outside world. Okay. By the outside world, I don't mean the world around you, but what lies outside the earth. And it can actually indicate a growing desire to know about astral projection, space, aliens, UFOs, and to be in isolation and in surrender of a higher spiritual power. Okay, so these people, they don't have any time for religion, but they will always want to devote themselves to source energy. Okay, what is the source energy? The energy of God that is controlling everything. Okay, so this Jupiter aspects the second house from the seventh aspect, and it shows that one will value family, culture, and lineage. Okay, but the native will be attaining wealth and earning money via research and learning secrets. Okay, and Jupiter's ninth aspect on the fourth house, it shows great devotion to the mother, home, and the people of their homeland. Okay, and the native will seek gurus in a female figure and motherly figure. And this Jupiter also ensures that the native will find happiness and love through emotional security. Okay, Jupiter in the ninth house, very good position for Jupiter to be in. Okay, because during this time of Jupiter Mahadasha, the native will find tremendous joy from higher learning and research-based studies. Okay, lordship isn't important here. Of course it is important. Okay, of course it is important, but at the end of the day, as I said, if Jupiter lords the eighth house, or if Jupiter if Jupiter lords the eighth house, then the native can suffer because of selfishness. Okay, and always remember this in astrology: placement first, everything else comes later. Okay, Jupiter in fourth house is always good, even if it is placed in Capricorn. Okay, you have to see the house first. One good and one bad house. Then in that case, you have to say Jupiter lords the eighth house. So if it is eighth, okay, so if it is Sagittarius, then the Pisces will be in the 11th house, right? Yes, fifth and eighth house for Leo. What happens then? Look at where Jupiter is placed. Okay, for example, if for Leo ascendant, if Jupiter is placed in the fifth, if Jupiter rules the fifth and eighth house, but placed in the seventh, it will give results of the eighth house. Okay. Suppose Jupiter was placed in the, it rules an odd house and even house. Okay, fifth and eighth, odd house, even house. It is placed in an even house. It is placed in an odd house. Then it will give results of the even house. Okay, this is a technique that you have to learn. All right. Suppose Jupiter is the it is for Leo ascendant, again Jupiter is the fifth and the eighth lord, and if it is placed in the say fourth house, then it will give results of the it will give results of the fifth house. Okay, it will give results as the fifth lord basically. All right. Okay. So as I said, this period of Jupiter Mahadasha, it will give the native tremendous joy from from higher learning and research-based activities. Okay, it can also bring jovial qualities to traveling and to religious and educational. It can make traveling possible to religious and educational places. Okay, and the greatest benefit of a ninth house Jupiter is that it can make you come into contact with a living guru. Okay, it's very, very important. Yeah, so what will happen is, since it is retrograde, so during its dasha, one guru may come and then you will realize, oh my god, he is not my guru. Okay, and then someone else has to come. Okay, retrograde means repetition. You will keep repeating things again and again and again unless and until you get it right. Okay, so if you're lucky enough, you will find a living guru in the Mahadasha of Jupiter, especially if it is sitting in the ninth house or if it rules the ninth house. Okay, because the ninth house is the house of dharma. It is the house of your highest spiritual deeds. What is dharma? Dharma means whatever you are good at, whatever you like to do. Dharma does not mean religion. Okay, dharma does not mean religion. It means whatever you like to do, whatever you love to do, that becomes your dharma. Okay, so As Parashara says that there are three roots of human essence. Number one, interest in interest in the divine. Number two, interest in religion, and number three, interest in finding out the truth of life. Okay, so all this comes from the ninth house. Okay, and the native will find a lot of interest in these three essence. In these three roots of human essence. Okay, and if Jupiter is debilitated or if Jupiter is joined by Rahu, then there can be a sudden loss of faith or belief in the wrong path. Okay, and it also indicates that at least once the person will visit an astrologer for some kind of reading. Is it simply on the basis of even odd? We generally check where Mool Trikon falls. No, it is on the basis of even odd. Okay, don't bring Mool Trikon here. This is not correct. Okay, this concept of bringing Mool Trikon is a KP concept. It is not based on Parashara. Right?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, Shannon, please.
So, about the living guru, right? Does it happen during the Mahadasha or can it happen before?
It can happen before as well. Not a problem with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And, yeah.
It can happen.
It did. It did. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So this aspect of Jupiter on the ascendant, it shows that the personality and the body of the native will grow. Okay, that means the native can actually put on a lot of weight. Okay, or it can also mean that the native will become more optimistic and positive about life. Okay, and if the native falls, if the native suffers from bad health, then there will always be a good recovery in terms of health and less pain. Okay, the third aspect of Jupiter, it shows benefits to siblings, possibly guiding siblings towards a career, or maybe guiding siblings in their relationships, or guiding family members towards a higher cause. And there will also be a great curiosity and interest in teaching others. Okay, the native will be very curious about your cousins and nearby family members, and in creating a spiritual connection with them. And Jupiter's ninth aspect on the fifth house, it promises children. Okay, it promises luck in speculative business and also having many people under you as your students or colleagues. Okay, then Jupiter in the 10th house, excellent position for Jupiter to be in, because anyone having a 10th house Jupiter, he or she will be very, very disciplined. Okay, this is the first characteristic. Jupiter in the 10th house makes one very, very disciplined. All right, and this is the period where career becomes the most optimistic focus for the native's life. Okay, because Jupiter, being the planet of abundance, wealth, and expansion, it gives great success in career matters. The 10th house is not really meant for career. Okay, it is how you complete work. So if you are good at completing work, naturally you will have a good career. Okay, no matter what you do, even if you are a pickpocket, you will actually have a very good career. Okay, but it is debilitated there in 10th. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Okay, it is still debilitated, but as I said, house first, signs later. Okay, it is in the 10th in Navamsha. Okay, so Shannon is going to have a big bank balance towards the towards her Jupiter Mahadasha, and she'll be lending money to most of us here. Okay, how to check your bank balance?
So you say it's at the end, right? I have to wait for Rahu or not?
Oh yeah, no. It'll still give you a good bank balance. So next time, every time I am in search of money, I can ask Shannon for a loan. Okay, Shannon, give me this loan.
As long as I have it, no worries.
Actually, your bank balance is seen from the 10th house of Navamsha. Okay, more benefits in the 10th house of Navamsha, greater is your bank balance.
Okay, so I only have one planet there,
no,
which is Jupiter, right?
That is the biggest planet now. So you have.
So what if there isn't any? What if there isn't any planet there? Do we look at the Lord?
No, exactly. You look at the planets influencing the 10th house in that case.
Okay, so Jupiter is in the 10th, but the Lord of the 10th in the Navamsha is exalted.
No, that's great. That's great. So the Guru
Even
can
if
actually
it's
bring
malefic?
you a lot of wealth.
Even malefic.
Yeah, even if it is malefic. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let it
I'll
come
actually
through.
engage you in promoting some of my affiliate programs that will bring you a lot of wealth.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so if you look at the 10th house of Navamsha, 10th house of any person, more the number of planets influencing the 10th house, greater the wealth of that person. Okay, it's very important. It's very easy to check. Yeah. So Even if debilitated, as as Twinkleji was asking, Jupiter gives good results if the native is working in a government sector, or if the native is engaged in administrative jobs. Okay, and one will find great respect in the society, and the native's career will shine. Okay, especially with the help of a guru or mentor. All right, and if Jupiter is well placed, then one is bound to find a professional mentor to guide progress in their career regardless of the field. All right, and if Jupiter is, again, if Jupiter is debilitated in Capricorn, or maybe if Jupiter is in an earth sign like like Virgo, or like what to say, like Taurus, then the banking sector becomes very important. Okay, it can give good results in the banking sector. Okay, but then the native does not, although the native will make money in the corporate world. Okay, but during this period the native can become unhappy in a corporate job. Okay, because the corporate world is the world of Maya, it is the jungle of Maya, and Jupiter the guru does not like being in the jungle of Maya. Okay, but then even if the native is forced to be in such a situation, he or she will find a way of doing their work, unless and until Jupiter is completely corrupted by malefic planets. Okay, so the fifth aspect of Jupiter on the 10th house, on the second house, it will it will ensure that the accumulation of wealth and savings, and the providing of necessary resources for abundance within the family. Okay, and the aspect of Jupiter on the fourth house, it shows one to be engaging in educational conversations, in happiness and prosperity within the home through personal interactions. Okay, and Jupiter can also give tremendous knowledge from an elderly person within the home. All right, so this ninth aspect of Jupiter on the sixth house, it can show gratitude for service, and it can also show one giving themselves to help others who are not privileged. Okay, and the person will also find themselves in and out of debt, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because many businessmen, they loan money and then they pay it off eventually to run their businesses. Okay, the other secret for Jupiter in the 10th house is that you can find a way to make money no matter where you are. Okay, no matter what you do, you'll find a way to make money. Even if you are even if you're cleaning toilets, you'll find a way to make good money out of it. All right, so Jupiter in the 11th house, it is known as Ekadash Guru. Okay, so it can give maximum results in terms of wealth. Okay, and the 11th house is the highest of the Kama houses, which means it is the strongest of your desire houses. Okay, the desire of the 11th house is all about money. It is all about material wealth and possessions. Okay, and that is the reason why the 3rd, 6th, and 11th are regarded as malefic houses, because they will they will induce a native into material activity. Okay, and during this dasha, the native may find himself or herself to be a part of a large organization where he or she will be asked to either counsel or teach. Okay, and the dignity of the guru, it gains strength each day. Okay, and the wisdom becomes better each day, because the 11th is the Upachaya houses. Okay, it is one of the Upachaya houses where things become better with a lot of practice. Okay, so as I said, 11th house is regarded as a malefic house by Parashara, but it is only malefic in the sense of needing to gain material wealth through one's knowledge and gratitude. Okay, and we are living in times where we need to pay our bills, we need to pay our mortgages, we need to feed ourselves. Okay, so during this during this Kali Yuga, it is a much needed and demanded house for the expansion of one's gains in life. Okay, so the fifth aspect of Jupiter on the 3rd house, it shows that one finds communication to be fun and creative aspect of dealing in business and networking. Okay, the native will have a lot of ability to sell themselves like a parent to a child, because the 5th house aspect is the aspect for children. Okay, and they will have the ability to be an authority without really being an authority on a certain subject. Okay, and many bankers and stockbrokers are seen with such a Jupiter, as they use the marketplace knowledge to sell themselves to the people near them. Okay, so the 7th aspect of Jupiter is on the 5th house, which shows that the native will strive to achieve a balance between the marketplace and children. Okay, they'll teach their children about the value and game of dealing with money. Right, and this 9th aspect of Jupiter to the 7th house, it shows that one will be able to provide the highest of dharma, money and wealth to their spouse. Okay, they will nourish the spouse with their ability to gain the wisdom of the marketplace. All right, and finally we come to Jupiter in the 12th house. So this is about taking a journey into spiritually isolated bliss. Okay, And this period will invoke tremendous interest in meditation and self-awareness by gaining in yoga, by engaging in yoga, meditation, or travel to spiritual places in foreign lands. Okay. And one will simply expand your spiritual horizons from the narrow perspective. If they grew up in a narrow perspective, they will actually try to expand your spiritual outlook. Okay. And this placement can actually bring a lot of foreign trips during the Dasha, because if Jupiter is in a movable or a dual sign, then the native will find himself or herself traveling a lot to foreign lands. Okay. Fixed signs, if Jupiter is placed in fixed signs, then the native may have to work behind the scenes, like fixed place like in a lab or a hospital. Okay. Or maybe an asylum. Or if Jupiter is in a water sign, then it can take the native to an ashram. Okay. So you'll see people having this Jupiter in the 12th house. If this Jupiter Dasha occurred in a young age, they might have spent time in an ashram or in a gurukul during their formative years, okay, during their educative years. All right. And there will also be financial gains from foreign lands, or perhaps the native will work for a financial institution located in a foreign land. Okay. And Jupiter, we know it is the karaka of finances, money, and banking. Okay, so this fifth aspect of Jupiter on the 4th house, it shows that the native will try to make profits within the house. Okay, and apart from making profits, the native will also be filled with strong emotions towards the mother. Okay, towards the family. All right, and these emotions will flow like a river. All right. And during this period, the native might also end up constructing a brand new house or buying a brand new house. Okay. And Jupiter's 7th aspect on the 6th house, it will show a great need to serve others in social reform or to pay off debts that had been looming over from the past. Okay, you might find yourself paying off your grandfather's debts. Okay, and there is always protection towards health. There is protection from accidents during this time. And the 9th aspect of Jupiter on the 8th house, it will show that one will have tremendous attraction towards knowledge and wisdom related to Kundalini or related to occult and the mysticism. Okay, so just one secret before we call it a day. The 9th aspect of Jupiter is the most crucial aspect. Okay, it is more difficult than the 3rd aspect of Saturn. Okay, because the 3rd aspect of Saturn, it ensures that your thing, wherever Saturn is aspecting, for example, if Saturn is aspecting the 2nd house through its 3rd aspect, it means that you have to learn how to build wealth gradually, and then your wealth will build. But the 9th aspect of Jupiter, wherever that 9th aspect of Jupiter falls, it can bring a lot of turmoil. Okay, so how to determine whether you are safe or not? If the 9th aspect of Jupiter is falling on a benefic planet, then you are safe. If the 9th aspect of Jupiter is falling on an empty house, then you are safe. But if the 9th aspect of Jupiter is falling on a malefic, you will have to learn it the hard way. And the malefic will just slap the wits out of you. Okay, just see where your 9th aspect of Jupiter falls. Just see where the 9th aspect of Jupiter falls on the charts of people and just look at their lives and just examine the tapestry of their lives. So you'll find a lot of insights. Okay, so this is it from me in this class. I welcome your questions for today.
Okay, so the 9th aspect of Jupiter is falling on its own house and in both charts, so, and they're empty, so.
But that's okay. So it's fine. You're saved. Thankfully, you're saved.
Also, Jupiter and Venus, are they considered enemies, or?
They are considered enemies, not from the spiritual perspective, but from the material perspective.
Why I ask, because the Jupiter in the Navamsha, which is in the 10th, is aspecting Venus.
But that is okay. Aspect is okay. Unless and until it's a conjunction, aspect is always fine. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because for example, Jupiter represents knowledge and Venus represents luxuries. So that aspect of Venus on that Jupiter will make you seek out knowledge that leads to luxury. Or that aspect of Venus on Jupiter, it can make you seek out knowledge that leads to health, because Venus also represents the vitality factor.
Does the nakshatra matters? Because
no,
Jupiter
don't bring nakshatras into the picture right now. Okay, there is a very different way of reading nakshatras, and we will continue. Okay, it's not a small a short time association we will have, because I'll be continuing. So, if you decide to stick on, it will be a very long time association.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right then. So thank you so much. And I'll see you. Yeah. I'll see you next time. Okay. And keep following the YouTube channel for regular updates. Namaste, everyone. Om Gurave Namaha.